It's here, and I just realized my mic was muted. So hopefully you can hear me now. Good morning, Shen. Happy Friday. Thank you for being here. I'm expecting a few more people. We're going to get started in just 2 minutes here, so we'll wait for them to show up. But if not, it'll just be like an intimate session with you and I. We do have a bunch more people registered. 10 people are registered for this week, so hopefully some more will trickle in. But if not, it'll just be me and you doing a webinar on how to get the most out of your RealtyNinja website. Shen, if you can hear me, can you just type a little message into the chat window just so that I know that my voice is time and that you're actually here with me before I get started. If you want to grab a water or coffee or anything and prep yourself, we're going to get ready in about 1 minute to start. As long as somebody's here. So Shen, if you're here, just type a little chat. I'm going to type one just to start a combo off. Since it's just the two of us for now, Shen, I'd love to know if you're here with me so that when we get started, I'm actually just talking to somebody and not nobody, although I will happily just talk to nobody if that's the case, because I'm here for the next 45 minutes. So Shen, if you're with me here today, if you don't mind just typing a little chat in the chat box if you can hear me, just so I know you're here. Feel free to prep any questions you have, just generally modern marketing related questions. I guess I should get started here. It's 1 o'clock now, so hopefully you're here. Hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully some others trickle in. If I don't hear from you, I will just assume you're sitting back and listening. But yeah, please, if you don't mind checking in the chat and asking any questions or anything you have, that would be awesome. Okay, so without further ado, we're here today to talk to you about how to get the most from your RealtyNinja website. Now that you've basically launched your website, so everybody in this webinar should have either a launched website or be pretty close to a launched website. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into a couple of rules we've learned over the years of building websites for customers in real estate and beyond. After that, we're going to talk about some on-site optimization tactics. In other words, things you can do on your website to actually optimize it and make it convert your traffic better into leads. Also, some things you can do off-site. So that's what we'll talk about after is off-site optimization tactics, things you can do all around the internet off of your own website that will actually attract traffic for you. After that, we'll just go into a quick touching on the dojo and the ebook, ways that we kind of help keep you guys educated and feeling confident with modern marketing in the real estate world on an ongoing basis. And then we're going to do a modern marketing Q&A, which usually just kind of ends up happening throughout. Hey, Shen, awesome. Glad to hear you're here, and I'm not just talking to nobody. Yeah, so we'll do a modern marketing Q&A at the end, but frankly, there's only 2 of us here right now, and probably, oh, we got Ben joining us too. Hey, Ben, that's awesome. So still a pretty intimate group. So you guys feel free to ask your questions kind of as they pop into your head. So again, this is a webinar that's going to show you how to get the most out of your RealtyNinja website. You can type your questions in as you think of them. If it's something that's kind of long, I might just leave it for the end. But if it's something I can answer on the spot, I'll definitely answer it right when you ask it. So feel free to engage with me throughout. Ben, if you're here, why don't you type a little chat in the chat window just so I know you're here listening and with me. And so yeah, let's move right ahead. First of all, give yourself a high five, pat yourself on the back if you can. The fact that you are using a RealtyNinja, mobile-friendly, responsive realtor website means you're already way ahead of the pack. I spend a lot of time looking at realtor websites online, and I'll tell you 50% of the realtors out there don't even have a website. So when I go to look them up, I'm just finding them on their brokerage page or something like that, and not their own website. So, give yourself a high five, give yourself props. You're already kind of ahead of the average, but this isn't a webinar about being average. This is a webinar about getting the most out of your website and being truly ninja. So with that said, let me preface this whole webinar by mentioning that we live in a really interesting time right now. We live in an attention economy where everybody's just getting blasted with so much content, no matter where they are whether it's driving down the street or browsing on Facebook or YouTube or any kind of online platform, you're just getting pounded with content. And these marketers out here, whether they are Facebook or YouTube, Netflix, or your friend's dog who has an Instagram account, everybody's out here vying for attention. They're all trying to steal a piece of that pie of people's attention. And so think about that and keep that in your mind. And we might kind of touch on this as we go through the webinar, because it's really important to note that everyone's just constantly inundated with requests to look at content. And so if you think of the world that way, what do you got to put out there to take people's attention away from Netflix for 15 minutes or for an hour? So, thinking like that can really kind of frame things differently in your mind in terms of producing content and marketing. We've got a new person, Neil. Hey, awesome, Neil. Good to see you here. Hopefully you guys can all hear me. Ben, Neil, if you guys are here, just type a little chat in the chat window so I know you're with me. And feel free to ask questions as we go. So what does it take to make your website truly ninja? Before RealtyNinja, we were in business making custom websites as well, and we built thousands of websites for real estate agents and beyond. Hey, Ben. And we found that the most successful websites on the internet, whether it's realtor websites or otherwise, they follow two simple rules. Rule number one, don't be generic. Generic marketing is forgettable. And rule number two, create real value for your target audience. People don't really care about you. They care about what you can do for them. And that's just kind of the way it is in every industry. It's not real estate specific. So when it comes to real estate, think about how you can not be generic. Think about how you can target a niche, and think about how you can create real value for that niche. Think about what are that niche's pain points? What do they want from a realtor? Why are they hiring a realtor? Why are they browsing, content online that is related to real estate or moving or buying or selling, and produce value for those people through your content. These days you have huge opportunities online. I mean, I've seen new realtors join kind of Instagram, and within a couple of years, they have a way more dedicated, engaged, and larger following than people who've been realtors for, 20 years. And so maybe those realtors who've been, in the business for 20 years have this book full of networks and a CRM database. But as a new agent, or, an agent who's just kind of getting started, with their marketing after a couple of years of kind of slowly starting off, you have this opportunity to kind of get in front of thousands of people and create those thousands of leads for yourself much more quickly than 20 plus years. So this is a huge opportunity and not something to be overlooked. Social media is not just some kiddie thing in the online world. Online marketing is something that's here to stay. It's not just a fad. So something to really think about is you can become the digital mayor of your community. For instance, by producing awesome content, by engaging with the people, asking them what their needs are, and really just kind of tying this into your brand. So keep this in mind as we move forward. A couple important questions to ask yourself. These kind of tie back to those two simple rules that we mentioned. Question number one, who am I building my website for? Is it first-time home buyers? Is it new families? Is it, any number of different niches that are out there in the real estate business? You really need to identify and not be generic. Like we said, don't just be, I'm going to be the #1 Vancouver realtor from here to Vancouver, North Van to Surrey, and I'm going to cover everything and work with everybody. That's not really going to get you the kind of business that you'll get by kind of focusing your attention and further than that, focusing the attention of what your website is built for, who your website is built for. If you're in business, doing business with first-time home buyers mainly, but then your website is kind of targeting everybody, it's not a consistent message through your brand. So keep that in mind. Who you're doing business with mainly is who your website should be built for. And then after you kind of identified who the website's being built for, you want to think about what do I want these people to do when they get here? It's really important that your website's not just some bland kind of brochure, that it actually has a funnel that you want people to follow. Call to actions help with this a lot. And maybe your call to actions are not immediately to buy, and they shouldn't be immediately to buy property from my site or list your property with me. They should probably be to get to know you, watch a few of your videos, subscribe to your mailing list, things like this that'll kind of get people more engaged with you that you can follow up with them later. So two really important questions. We'll touch on these again as we kind of go through the webinar, but who am I building the website for, and what do I want them to do on my website? Oops. So a few things that a truly ninja real estate website should do. I'm not going to read all of these because you guys can read yourselves, but a couple ones that I really like to highlight here are first, create. I wonder if I can got a draw thing. Yeah, here we go. Create trust with your audience to break through the digital barrier. Your website's a great way to do this, especially these days with video and how you can embed video and how video streams. Right, when you get there, you press play and it's streaming. Building trust with people in the real estate business is very important, and doing that through your website is actually quite easy. But I see a lot of missed opportunities out there. People not showing who they are, who the person is behind the brand, or why they got into this business, or testimonials, or anything out there that can, or awards and accolades, things that can kind of build trust with your audience, are things that a lot of realtors leave out, and they focus on listings, just putting listings. Well, listings are available all over the internet. What I can't find all over the internet is who you are and why I should do business with you. So really important one that is overlooked a lot. Another really important one that I like to touch on is the represent you 24/7, as it's often the first impression that people have of you. If you think about your website not as a website, but as an employee of your company, would you fire that employee? Would that employee be getting a raise? Are they doing a good job? Are they representing your business the right way? Good questions to ask yourself, because when you're sleeping at night and somebody who usually works the graveyard shift, got off work at 3 a.m. and is, going out there looking at real estate listings and websites. Lots of people work different hours, and they're up at 3 in the morning when everybody else is sleeping, browsing the internet. And so when they land on your website, are they feeling like there's a connection between, there's consistency between who you are and how you do business and the way your website looks, feels, and engages visitors? Or is there a total disconnect? Is that website just totally basic when you're this incredibly dynamic business person? So you got to make sure that your website's representing you correctly, because it is representing you 24/7 online. And the biggest one, which is obviously here in huge bold letters, provide value to your target audience and not just you. Going back to those two simple rules. Again, people don't really care about you. They care about what you can bring to them. Especially in such a large transaction, they really want to feel that connection with you, and they really want to feel like you can provide them value. So the more you can show that through your website, I think the more successful you're going to be, for sure. So this is an analogy that we use often, is that your RealtyNinja website is like a sweet, tricked out, sports car. It's got all the bells and whistles, all the horsepower, and all the capabilities that you need to go really fast and win races. But unfortunately, if you have no driver sitting in the driver's seat, it's not going to go anywhere. You got no one to put the pedal to the metal and drive that car, And so, really important to keep that in mind. It's not just, a website's a tool. It's not this lead generating machine that you're going to create and it's just all of a sudden going to pull leads for you out of thin air. There requires a driver. Now, whether that's you, or you hire somebody, or you lean on us more so by emailing us constantly and saying, hey, can you add this blog post to my site or whatever, because we do that for you. But you need to have a driver. And so whether that's a hybrid approach or if you're doing it, but just keep that in mind. A website's like anything. Like if you have a hammer in your hand, but you don't hit any nails with it, well, that hammer is just not really actually fulfilling its job, its duty. So keep that in mind. With that said, we're going to get into some on-site optimization tactics, things you can do to make your site more awesome. So the first thing that we always talk about is on-site is blogging and content resources. Content is king, and it's so important to constantly update your site with fresh content. Not only do visitors like that, because then they can come back and look forward to something new constantly, but search engines like it, because they believe that a website that's constantly updated is a website that's more relevant than websites that have been sitting stale on the internet, not updated for 5 years. And so a blog is a great way to do this. It's really easy to just kind of get into your RealtyNinja site, go to the blog page, and you just click, when you're logged in, you just go to the blog page and you click new post. So when you click that, the new post pops up, you enter a title, you enter the content, you drop a photo or embed a video or what have you, and you publish. And that's that. It's as quick and easy as that. You don't have to worry about page layouts and all kinds of stuff, because it's not like you're creating a new page for your site. You're just creating a blog post. So whether that's long or short, it's really important that you kind of use this feature of your website. It will keep you, it's a micro optimization that will help you rank higher. And when you're creating these blog posts, keep the HUN technique in mind. I made that up. I just put HUNN together, but it actually represents the four things that people psychologically pay attention to, four types of things. And those are helpful things, unique things, novel things, or new things. So keep that in mind and kind of give your content, whether it's like a social media post or just some kind of blog post or email blast or whatever you're kind of producing, kind of put it through this test of HUNN. Is it helpful? Is it unique, novel, or new? If it's not at least one of those things, it should be a combination of a few of those things. Like it could be unique information that is also new, or helpful information that is also unique. So if you're not finding it's matching one or two of those criteria, you're probably not already on the right track. So maybe you want to rejig the strategy for that content. Another on-site tactic, unique descriptions on your listings and MLS pages. Something that I find a lot of people don't realize is that listing data is not actually rewarded by search engines. Listing data, due to reciprocity agreements, it exists all over the internet. And so that's just duplicate. It's data coming from the real estate board. It's duplicate content. So you're not getting rewarded for showing listings on your website. What you do get rewards for is any unique information on your site. So if you have a listing page that is showing, let's say, downtown Vancouver condos, you're not the only person in British Columbia that's got a listing page on their site showing downtown Vancouver condos. So immediately that page is kind of nullified and doesn't count on your SEO. So what you want to do to kind of differentiate that page is to add some unique content to it. Maybe a description about what that neighborhood is. Talk about downtown Vancouver, include a photo, embed a video, make that page engaging and unique. And don't just copy paste the information from Wikipedia. You should actually write it yourself, or have somebody hire somebody to write it for you so that that information is not located elsewhere as well. It's essentially plagiarism. If you're plagiarizing, you're not going to get any rewards for it on search engines. So keep that in mind. Here's an example, and this is an old example from Craig Veroni's old site. His new site's much better. But this is like a really crude example of just differentiating a search page. There are many Vancouver West Cole Harbour search pages out there on the internet, but there's not a lot of them that have this photo. There's none of them that have this photo and this text. That's because this is custom written text by Craig and a photo that he posted here. I don't think he took the photo, and that's fine as long as there's no copyright infringement. You can use whatever photo, it'll still differentiate the page. And so just doing this, a little bit of detail on each of these search pages makes it so that these little search pages are no longer null on the website. And so they're now actually counting towards something for your SEO points. Great, moving forward. I just wanted to say hi, Tim. Thanks for joining. Good to see you here. And feel free to type any questions that you have into the chat window, guys, as you're sitting in. Okay, so next on-site tactic is your proper keyword and alt tag usage. So there was a time in the internet where, and it's getting to be a long time ago now, I'd say like 10 plus years ago, where good to have you, Tim, where keywords were considered these things that you would put into your code. So there was like meta keywords and meta description and meta tags, and these were all hidden in the header code of your website. They weren't actually visible to visitors. So you would fill these header codes with like, Vancouver Realtor, #1 real estate, Vancouver real estate, like whatever, all these kinds of keywords that represent what your website means. And that's how search engines would understand what your website was about. Now, obviously, search engines have come a long way. Their algorithms are crazy smart these days. And in fact, they're actually kind of at the intelligence level of people in a way. So keywords are no longer just stuffed into your code. Keywords are all over your website. Nowadays, Google and other search engines actually crawl all the content of your website. So where keywords used to be these things stuffed into the code, now they're every word located on your website. Everything is a keyword. Obviously not words like the, it, no, are, those aren't keywords, but essential words, audiences, like I'm just reading my slide here, but like audiences, alt tags, engines, like things like this, like big words like real estate, realtor, your name, for instance, the communities you serve. These are all keywords. So you want to make sure these kinds of keywords are located on your site. Now, why keywords are important is because it's how people find your website. So people are putting keywords into search engines, and Google's going, okay, based on the keywords you put in, here's what I think you want to see. So you want to make sure that you're using keywords on every page of your website that speak to these kind of those two questions that we talked about. Who am I building this website for? Uh, who are these people? What are they looking for, and what are they Googling? What are they searching for? And so based on what they're searching for, you want to provide keywords that speak to them specifically. So where was I? Here we go. So one thing to note is alt tags. Alt tags are the keywords for your photos. So while search engines have kind of come a long way, they can tell, for instance, that this is a photo of either a woman or a man with long hair. It's a photo of a human being. They can tell that at this point, which is kind of weird and creepy. And soon they'll have facial recognition and all that weird stuff. But for now, it doesn't know that this is a photo of Katie Burkhardt, the Vancouver real estate expert. So what we need to do is we need to go and add that alt text for these photos, for every photo of your website. Every photo of your website should have a little bit of a description in the alt tag, which stands for alternate text, by the way. So if you were to scroll your mouse over this photo of Katie, that alt text would show up. It would say Katie Burkhardt, Vancouver real estate expert, in like a little thin banner. So that tells search engines what this photo is specifically about. It also helps search engines put this photo in image search, because a lot of searches being done on Google are done in the images tab. So you want to make sure your images are also poised to be discovered on search engines. This will give you double optimization power. It's something people don't really look into. Honestly, I'd say 95% of our customers don't use the alt tags feature. So keep that in mind. When you come, the way that you do this is, excuse me, when you're editing a page, if it has photos on it, this page becomes editable, and a little gear icon shows up on the top corner of the photos. So you just click that gear icon, and then this box shows up. When this box shows up, you can just enter your text in the alternate text and hit save. So pretty straightforward. Moving on-site optimization. Next one is about us and testimonials. This goes back to that important point I was mentioning about creating trust. This is a section of realtor websites that I feel like are left out so often. It's really disappointing, because I go to their About Us page to learn about them, and it's like, this page is under construction. Please check back soon. But that guy's been a realtor for like 6 years. So, when is this construction of this bio going to be complete? I want to get to know, as a visitor, I want to get to know who you are, who I'm doing business with. So put a lot of time and effort into this. And, if you're not good at writing about yourself, that's fine. Get a friend to write about you in bullet form and then put it into a paragraph or something. Find a way to get this done, because this is what a lot of people are looking for when they come to your website. They can do their own, listing searches in a number of different ways and places. It's good that you provide that to them, of course, but what they're really coming to your site for is a lot of times just to get to know who you are, get to know if they want to do business with you. They've got a list of 10 realtors they're looking through to see who they want to work with, and this section of your site could be what sets you apart. So really don't hold back here. I'd say grab if you can, get on a video and do this. And if you can't do it professionally, grab your iPhone or your Samsung, make a selfie video, and just for 30 seconds introduce yourself, explain how long you've been doing this, explain why you got into this business, what makes you passionate about the community that you're serving, what kind of people that you specifically work with, and why you're an expert in that niche. And thank you very much. I'd love to have coffee with you. That's it. And I just did it, made that up on the spot. And so I'm sure you guys can kind of come up with something, 30 seconds to 1 minute, that gives people an idea of who you are, gives them a chance to look you in the eyes, listen to your voice, potentially before they've ever even met you. And so this is really going to separate you from the competition and give you that sense of transparency and build that credibility with people. That being said, testimonials also huge. Grab testimonials from everybody. And if you can, use a service like Rank My Agent. Also collect testimonials on Facebook, on Google. All of these are going to help you, and then you can just kind of port those Google and Facebook ones over to your site. You just copy paste them, but don't leave those out. And again, video is way more powerful than text. So video testimonials of your clients is not something far-fetched, is not something impossible, and I'm sure some of your better clients will be okay with that. So feel free to ask, and definitely ask for reviews, but also ask for video testimonials and see what you get. I'll tell you this, a lot of people are like worried about making it perfect. I say just get started and then get it perfect. So if your first video is filmed on an iPhone, that's totally fine. Next time you can just see if that was worth it. Maybe you got 10,000 views on that video, so maybe next time you invest in doing it more professionally, but at least kind of try it out, play with it. This is a really important piece. Final on-site optimization we're going to talk about is call to actions. Call to actions, obviously, this kind of goes back to that second question you want to ask yourself. Question number one was, who am I building the site for? Question two was, what do I want them to do on the website? And so call to actions are the answer to that. When you can have one call to action that's just big and bold, sign up now, or whatever it is, get the market report or whatever, or you could have multiple because of your strategy. That's totally up to you, totally depending on what you're trying to accomplish. But you should really think about these because people don't want to arrive on your site and go through every page on your navigation. You're not that important to people, and we live in an attention economy, like I said. People don't have the time to go and read in detail everything you've got. They're there to look for what they want. So try to anticipate what they want. Do some searches about what people in your niche, in your demographic that you're targeting want, need, what are their pain points, what do they want from their content, what kind of keywords are they searching for, and then create call to actions that speak to that so that when that specific person gets to your site, they're like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. They just click the big fat button in the middle of the site. That leads them to step two of the process, and so on and so forth until you get them in your mailing list or they like your Facebook or you're somehow speaking to them on the phone or whatever. So call to actions really help with this. Here's an example of someone using 5 call to actions, which I don't really like. I think that's too much. But essentially, it's just 2 call to actions. There's this one big one here and this one big one down here that are broken into 4. So Thomas's main thing he wants you to do is to subscribe for his monthly market report. So if you click here, you have to submit your email address, and that way he gets your email and he can continue to follow up with you with drip campaigns via email until hopefully you list with him or what have you. The other thing he wants to showcase is that he's an expert in these areas. He's the Vancouver downtown guy, and he's kind of broken that out into like these 4 sub areas of Vancouver's downtown area. And so he's saying, here, come do searches of these areas that I'm an expert in and sign up to get your monthly market report. Great. Thomas kind of knows what his strategy is. This is what he wants to do. Personally, I would have done 2. I would have had the monthly market report and the browse Vancouver downtown listings. Keep it more simple that way. You're not confusing people. Because 5 is also like kind of getting similar to the number of links up here, right? So keep that in mind. It should be a condensed version of what's going on in your main navigation. And with that said, we're going to get into some off-site website optimization tactics, which is essentially talking about things you can do off of your site to send traffic to your site. And before we talk about the specific things, I just like to preface these next few slides by mentioning that SEO, again, the algorithms are so advanced and search engines have come such a long way that they're no longer just looking at your website and keywords, to see what you're doing. They're looking at everything you do online, and that all paints a picture of your brand. So your Facebook page, that's connected to your website, your Twitter that's connected to your website, search engines know these things. They connect these things and they put the pieces together and they go, okay, this is everything about Tim Ray that we know, for instance. And so based on everything that they know, that's how they're going to rank you. And so, if you're thinking, I'm going to be, the market statistics person on Facebook and talk about market statistics for all of the lower mainland, for instance, great. But if that's not your niche target, if your website's telling a completely different story, then there's a bit of disjointedness there. So you want to make sure the stories you're telling across all your platforms are very similar. The keywords you're using are all very similar. The imagery you're using kind of matches. And so not only is it creating cohesiveness in the mind of search engines, but it's creating cohesiveness in the mind of your visitors. So when they go from your Facebook page to your website and then see your bus bench ad in the physical world, everything kind of connects and makes sense. Search engines kind of help rank you the same way. They're like people. They're like robots. They are robots, as a matter of fact. Robots crawl your site. So keep that in mind. If you ever want to hide a dead body, you should place it on the second page of Google results. That is not where you want to be. Nobody makes it that far on Google search. So you want to be on page 1. You want to make sure the story you're telling Google, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, I don't care, it's all cohesive and it's all relevant to your niche market and providing value to them. So with that said, Offsite optimization tactic one, optimize your bio on your broker site and directories. One of the most important facets of your SEO puzzle is going to be backlinks. Backlinks tell so much of a story to Google about you that they help rank you really quickly. So if you were to go out there and get backlinks from hundreds of really highly reputable websites that have been on the internet for 10 plus years, and they're all, and sorry, a backlink is essentially just a link to your site. So that's what a backlink means, a link from any website on the internet to your website. So going back to what I was saying, if you have hundreds of these highly reputable 10 plus year sites linking to your site, Google looks at you and goes, whoa, Ben's really popular. Why are all these, 100 really, really important sites linking to Ben's site? Ben must be someone we can trust, someone that's credible and someone important. Move his search engine list SEO listing up in the ranks. So that really plays a big part, and it takes a long time to get a lot of backlinks. But if you got like 100 just today, tomorrow your ranking is going to jump up, and it's going to jump up in a noticeable way. So one way to get backlinks is just to go audit yourself, do a Google search for your name, find out all of the places where you exist online, and log into those and add your website. Make sure your website is there. It's prominent too, so that people see it, but also search engines see it. And so, whether that's Yelp or Real Estate Weekly or on your Facebook page or in your Instagram bio, all of these kind of opportunities that you have to get backlinks to yourself, you should take advantage of for sure. A little bonus way to get backlinks is to write a guest blog post. So let's say you live in a community and that community has a few local blogs, that are really, really popular and get tons and tons of links. So you should write something for that community blog that's kind of in the same voice of what they would usually publish, do a little bit of homework, write something for them, and in that article, include a link back to you, back to your website. Now, that link could be the words real estate agent, for instance. You could highlight those and link them back to your site. Or alternatively, you could just have like at the end of your article, you can have a little bio about you, like, hey, my name is Shen Walji, I'm from Toronto, from the condo store, and check out my website here. And so that could be just your email, like your article sign off that has your link in it. Ideally, you'd have both. You'd have one link kind of hidden in the article and another link in your bio at the bottom. So you go and submit this article to your local blog or whatever, and you say, hey, I wrote this for you guys. I'm wondering if you'd be interested in a guest post. I'm publishing it. It's not being published anywhere else, which is something that they want to know. And then honestly, 95% of the time, they're going to say, awesome, thank you so much. As long as what you're writing isn't, something that doesn't fit with their site. If you've done your homework, they're going to accept it. And that's one really great way to kind of provide value to them, but also get a value for yourself. So it's kind of a win-win situation and a good way to kind of guarantee better chances of getting your link on some of the more popular sites. And it's a tactic that I've personally used. I've written 6 articles for Real Estate Weekly. And so, we get tons of backlinks, tons of visitors to our site from those backlinks still. Next one, social media publishing and engagement. I'm going to let you guys read this. And also when we end this webinar, you're going to be redirected to a page that contains all these slides and everything. So you can download this after as well. What I like to talk about on this slide is the 2 sides of social media, and one of them being publishing, the other being engagement. I find that realtors are getting really good at the publishing side, but they're still lacking on the engagement side. And so what that is when you publish something, you're putting something out there and you're hoping that people come and comment and like and share, etc. When you're engaging, you are the people that are going and commenting, liking and sharing and etc. So, a lot of agents are great at like, oh, I got a listing, got to pump it out on social media, but they don't actually go and look at the other listings or go and interact with the community or go search, hashtag Vancouver and talk to the people and, comment on their pictures. They don't participate in the other side of it, which is arguably the most important side. Sure, you can publish, but I've seen so many realtor Facebook pages, for instance, that I see so many posts, but barely anyone following them and barely anyone engaging with any of those posts. I'd rather have one post with 10,000 likes and comments on it than to have 10,000 posts with no likes and comments. It just looks better, and it is better. It's it's more actual interaction and conversion in terms of engagement. So the way that you build this up is by actually being a part of this community and not just being this one-sided person putting things out there, but you actually go and you ask people questions, you engage with your potential leads who are out there. Hundreds and thousands of them are out there using social media every day, using the hashtags for your community. It's hyper local. It's an easy way to kind of get in front of these people, and you guys are not using it. And so definitely make sure you're balancing out your publishing with your engagement. As much as you want people to come and engage with your content, people want you to go and engage with their content too. So be a part of that community. Weave it into your actual brand, and don't just make it an afterthought like, oh, I got a listing, better throw it on social media. That's not going to get you the results you're hoping for. An analogy I like to use here is, sorry, I'm just going to drink some water, clear my throat. An analogy I like to use here is a cocktail party. Imagine the guy who shows up to a cocktail party and all he does the whole time is talk about his accomplishments, who he is, the places he's traveled, all the things he's done, and the mountains he's climbed, blah blah. I'm sure he's a super interesting guy, but after a while, you're gonna get bored of talking to that person because you're not even gonna get a word in. If you say something, they're just gonna be like, "Oh, I also did that, but I did it better." That's not fun. That's not a fun cocktail party to be at or a person to engage with at a cocktail party. What you want is the person that comes in, shares a little bit about themselves, asks you some questions, listens to what you have to say, responds accordingly, talks more about themselves, have some laughs. It's what's happening on social media is very similar to what how real life interactions are. We're all still people online, even though it sometimes doesn't feel like it. So keep that in mind, and be more engaging on social media with other people. And the last offsite optimization tactic we'll talk about is paid and organic. And again, I'm not going to read these giant paragraphs. I do have something that I like to say on this slide, which is paid traffic is not the solution for crappy content or a crappy website. If you have a crappy website or some content that nobody cares about, like a blurry photo of a listing, for instance, that isn't even a good, this is not even a good photo or a good angle or whatever, and you just post it out there. If nobody's commenting on that, if nobody's liking it, if it's not getting any views, it's probably a sign that it's not great content. And it's not a sign that you should go put $50 behind it to make it, put more eyes on it, because putting more eyes on it is just going to make more people dislike it. It's not going to actually, turn the tides in your favor. So a good trick to use is to create valuable content for your audience, publish that online, and see how it does organically. Check your Google Analytics if it's a blog post, for instance, or a page on your website, or check your social media analytics if it's on Facebook or Instagram, how many views, how many likes, etc. If it's doing well, then throw some money behind it. Because if 20 people organically are, liking it, and 5 people are having a discussion on your comments of the post, excuse me, and hundreds of people have already visited the blog post organically, finding it on Google. So these might be telltale signs that this is the kind of content that you want to promote, that you want to kind of put up on a pedestal and put money behind. Because I've seen ads out there that are on Facebook, for instance, and I applaud the realtors for actually doing these ads on Facebook, but there are best practices, right? And putting an ad out there that's just your face that says #1 Realtor Vancouver and the rest is just a bunch of white space. Okay, cool. If I click that and it just takes me to your homepage and I don't really know what to do next or whatever, I'm just going to waste my money, or I'm going to waste your money rather, the advertiser's money, because every time I click on that, it costs them money. But when I get to their website, I'm like, meh, I'm out. Nothing here for me to do. It wasn't like telling me, hey, check out this article about the top 5 best dog parks in the neighborhood, and then I click it and it takes me to the realtor's site where that blog post exists. That's a better kind of more relevant interaction with an ad than just clicking someone's digital version of their bus bench ad. The bus bench ads are great for branding, but on social media and Google, your objectives are a bit different. They're to get people to click and kind of go to that next step, and then maybe click again, maybe buy something. And so keep that in mind. Don't just kind of take crappy content, put advertising dollars behind it. I would hate to see you guys wasting your money that way. Test your good content, your best content, test it with ad budgets, and try testing it to different audiences. You can split test A and B, half of it to a different age group and half of it to a different age group, and see how they do. Next time, go after the age group that did better. So there's a lot to be done here, but just, the one thing I want you to take away from this is paying money for your ads is not the solution for driving traffic to a crappy site or to crappy content. And with that said, one of the last slides here, excuse me, most important thing to keep in mind is that all of this stuff is got to be an ongoing thing that is woven into the biology of your business, not just something that's some afterthought like, oh, we better post this, or oh, I should do a blog post. It's been 2 months. No. Every Wednesday should be your blog day or whatever, whatever that strategy is, and you need to be prepared to put in the time for years to come. This is just the way you do business now, or it's not, that's up to you. But if you're going to get into it, you really want to get into it for the long haul. Things that we did, for instance, on our blog at RealtyNinja 3 months ago are starting to pay off today. It's not an immediate thing. It takes time for these kinds of unless you're a huge business with millions and millions of visitors every month, and then every change you make makes an impact right away. But for smaller businesses that get maybe 100 or a few thousand hits a month, it takes a bit of time. So be ready to put your best foot forward for a little bit longer than just like the next month. It's going to take some more time, and I guarantee you, a lot of your competition is going to get tired and get more fatigued and stop doing this stuff before you. Because I've seen this a lot. You get all jazzed up, you get started, and then after a month, you're like, I'm not seeing any leads. I'm done, and I'm going back to old school business. And that's going to happen for a lot of people. So try to be the person that doesn't let that happen to them, and you will see results for sure. I know it. To keep going with your guys' just kind of ongoing modern marketing learning, you can always follow our blog, and you can subscribe to get updates. I think if you guys are customers and you opted in for that, you'll get them anyways. And so keep it, just keep an eye on that. I recently did a blog about chatbots, which are like this really big upcoming kind of technology in the real estate industry. So you might want to check that out. I've reviewed 14 chatbots in there for you guys to see which one kind of works best for your business. So I'm always kind of creating things like that are, relevant and on topic with what's going on in the world of marketing, but also things that you guys are just having struggles with. I'll learn that through interacting with you guys, and I'll write articles about it. So keep your eyes on the dojo. We'll be doing more videos soon too. And then we've also got our ebook. Part 3 is coming soon. Part 1 was called The Modern Mindset, and Part 2 is Modern Websites, SEO, and Blogging. Part 3 is going to be called Modern Tools and Technology. And so here's a few chapters that you can get in Part 2. It's pretty, this is my baby, this ebook. I wrote this whole thing, and I've gotten really great feedback, like feedback that's brought a tear to my eye, honestly, because, people are saying it's giving me confidence to kind of, do, step into the marketing world in 2016, 2017, 2018, and beyond. So it makes me really excited that this is actually valuable to you guys. And another thing to keep in mind is this is a testament that we're putting our money where our mouth is, and we're actually doing the same things that we're promoting in this webinar. We want you to download these, and whether you're a customer or not, you download this ebook, you trade your email address, and then we stay in contact with you and hopefully convert you into a customer. So, try to do stuff like this on your own site as well. Provide, valuable resources that people can download in exchange for an email address, and then reach out to those people on an ongoing basis. So just to show you that we're actually doing what we preach, we practice what we preach, and it's actually a great ebook. So hopefully you guys all download it. And that's all I've got to say. Look at that, 11:41. We got 4 minutes to spare for some questions. So feel free to go nuts here. Thanks, Shen. I appreciate it. It's always exciting to do these on a Friday. Yeah, it's a great way to end the week. Great, thank you. I'm glad to hear. And if you guys have any questions after the fact, you can just email info@realtyninja.com and address it to Seppi, and I can I'm happy to answer your questions, whether they're website related or just general marketing related stuff. So I'm not seeing any questions pop up, guys. If any of you have any questions, now would be the time. I'm going to stick around here for another couple minutes until you guys all take off, or I see some questions. Thank you guys so much for being here. Awesome. Thanks, Shen. Thank you for being here. I know it's Friday and everybody's eager to start the weekend, but I appreciate it. No worries, Tim. If you missed the beginning, the recording for this webinar will be on our YouTube channel sometime in the next hour or so. YouTube, Ben, thanks, man. Have a great weekend. Yeah, so you can always watch, and every single one of these that I've done is recorded, so they're all on our YouTube channel as well. Thank you for being here, Neil. Appreciate it. Thanks, Tim. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, sounds like there's no questions, so I'm going to end this. And as soon as I end this webinar, you guys are going to be redirected to a link where you can download the slides and watch the YouTube videos and all kinds of other great links. So thank you again so much for being here and have an awesome day, my ninjas.